Hi, Shirley. How are you? Good afternoon.
I'm good, thank you. How are you?
I'm pretty well. I'm pretty well. Um, Tomorrow, I have heard that it's going to be raining in Santa Cruz, although today was super sunny. Normal thing that the weather or the climate changes, well, incredibly fast, and apparently that's going to happen tomorrow. But apart from that, very good. I don't like rain. I don't like rain or this type of weather. Always prefer summer, and sun is way more beautiful, in my opinion, right? But
Yeah.
anyways, how was your day?
This is a busy day, and really, but here the weather is cold. This week is cold. Yesterday raining, today no, I didn't know raining today, but it's cold, humid. That's similar in the winter in Santa Cruz. Yeah,
Yes,
that is similar in
yes.
Paris.
All right. And you work at the laboratory today, or you continue with your office work?
Yeah, today is laboratory work and freezer organization for sample.
Okay,
Yeah.
very good. But you have not continued with the experiment you talked to me about some days ago when you said that something went wrong. You have not continued with that, right? Until you receive the
No.
reactive?
Yeah, we don't continue on that. We're working in culture,
Yes.
parasiculture, and organization for sample because we
All right.
we receive sample probably every 2 months, but we had five freezer. That is this temperature is less 70 degrees, so we can be careful in every freezer.
All right. Very interesting. Very interesting. Okay, good then. I guess that, well, that's part, right? Sometimes, well, I guess that the reactive, they're going to give it to you soon, right? Because I want to know what happened with that. I'm actually very curious to know what happened. What was the cause of the accident, or let's say the negative result you obtained? I'm very curious about it. That's why I always keep asking you what happened with that. Very curious. Okay, let me see. Today is Wednesday, by the way. We are we're getting we're approximating to our last class, and that makes me very sad, actually. Nonetheless, as I say, I think that throughout all these days, today is not our last class, of course, but throughout all these days, I think that you have been improving very much, and I think that you're certainly well trained now in order to just start new preparation for a TOEFL exam someday, and that's it. I think that you're going to be performing very well, and especially now that you are in the US as well. I think that, of course, the time you remain there is going to be a super good manner to practice as well every single part of the TOEFL exam, because as everything enters basically into the exam, speaking, reading, listening, everything, you are actually I would say, in the best position to practice all that, right? In one of the best universities of the world. So the content that you receive from the TOEFL exam is not different from what you read normally daily in your laboratory, articles about biology, chemistry. So you're going to have a huge advantage when you get into the exam, because many people, they basically fail in the exam because they are not used to academic English. But nowadays, what you're doing is exactly that. You're doing academic English, you are reading in English, but with regard to academic topics, you are speaking English that is academic because you discuss with your professors, and also you are listening to academic English because you have these classes, and well, of course, you are in that very scholarly environment. So I would say that there's no better place to be in right now in order to practice all these parts than the place you are right now. Okay, so I just continue motivating you. I think that that is going to be a huge relief for you later on in the future. But very good then. So did you have time to prepare yourself a little bit yesterday or tonight in this task, or you were not having some time?
Yeah, I don't have time for the moment. This is exactly, yeah.
Yeah, no, it's okay. Don't worry. That's okay. So as I said, today we're going to practice the entire class again for that. And tomorrow, as tomorrow is going to be our last class, I'm going to prepare something special, of course, for that. nonetheless, for today's class, let us continue with those exercises, recording that, and also well, practicing for the first task so that we can polish some details, okay, that we have not perfected yet. So let's start, okay? Let's start together. I'm gonna open one more time here. This link.
The last time, the last class.
Tomorrow.
Yeah.
Tomorrow. Sadly, right? Tomorrow is our last class. Where are we? Vegan strategy.
The TOEFL, they have the structure for the order for the topic in the test, because the first is reading, second is speaking, finally is the writing. Is same always or change?
Yes, it's always the same. Let me show you this. I'm going to show you here in the slides. Where's that here? Give me a second. Let me show you this. This is the structure of the exam. As you can see, the first section, as you said, very much correctly, is the reading section. And this section lasts for approximately 1 hour, sometimes a little bit more, because there is a little variation depending on something on the exam. And then, well, you get the listening section. Right after you finish with the reading section, you start immediately, okay, with the listening section, and then you have your 10 minutes break. And after you finalize with your 10 minutes break, that is the only point during the exam where you can go out. And of course, I'm talking about the IBT version, right? And also the home IBT version, but anyways, you are at home in that case, right? But this is the only time during the exam when you can drink water, eat something, or just, I don't know, relax a little bit. Then you come back and you start with the speaking section that, as you can see, is the shortest one because it only lasts for 20 minutes. And then after you finish with the speaking section, you, as you said as well, finalize the exam with the writing section. That is 15 minutes duration. So as you can see, this is the organization of the exam. And this is structure, let's say, or this schedule is always respected in every single country of the world where the TOEFL exam is taken. This is always the order: reading, listening, 10 minutes break, speaking, and finally the writing section. That's it.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah. All right, fantastic. Any other question about this?
The reading, the listening is the same. I think that you have different option when you finish the reading, or you can finish the listening only for the answer that question. Yeah.
Could you repeat the first part? Yes.
Yeah.
Repeat it, please.
In the reading, in the listening, this part is this part is question. Do you have different option for answer?
Yes. Yes,
yeah,
exactly. Let me show you. So for example, when you get into the reading section, this is what you will see. What you get into, and you're gonna have a reading passage. And for as I told you, for finalizing and completing the entire section, you have approximately 1 hour. All right. So if you divide that into the 3 reading passages that you're going to receive, you have more or less 17 minutes in order to respond every single passage with its 10 questions, because every passage you have in the reading section, that, as I say, you normally have 3 different passages to read and 1 hour to complete them all. You're going to have, let's say, 70 minutes per passage. And also, as I mentioned, per reading passage, you have 10 questions to respond. So for example, here we have one. It says dying languages, right? As you can see, this would be the passage. Passages in the reading section are always related to academic topics. It can be something about biology, chemistry, physics, mathematics, history, art. As you can see, for example, this one is a thing about actual languages, right? Linguistics. So that would be, let's say, the topic. And as you can see, when you have this passage, you are immediately able to respond to the 10 questions you have for this particular reading passage, right? So here, for example, you have a question similar to the ones you will receive. It says, why does the author mention Papua New Guinea in paragraph 1? right? And here you have to read this and of course choose the correct answer. And as you said, all the questions of the TOEFL exam in the reading section are multiple choice. That is to say, you always choose from a series of possible responses and you are never required to write your response. Let's say you don't have to write down the responses you consider to be correct, but they always give you some options. As you can see here, you have 4 and you have to choose the one you consider to be the correct one, right? And that is the same for all the other questions. Well, you move to the other question. And here, as you can see, is also a multiple choice question and also for the rest one. Is that fine?
Yeah, okay. And so every lecture they had 10 questions.
Yeah, every reading you have 10 questions. Every reading you have 10 questions. And at the end, as I say, when you finish this, there is no, let's say, break or no rest time, because when you finish this, you move on directly to the listening section, that is this one. And it's actually very similar, at least to the mechanism to respond to questions. Of course, in this case, you don't read anything, but you listen to a passage.
Listen
like
to
one,
part of a lecture in a class on wildlife conservation.
Right, something like that. As I say, it's always related to an academic topic. To listen to this, well, in the listening section, actually, you have 2 types of materials. You have, on one hand, you have academic topics as the ones that appear on the reading section, but you also have, in this case, conversation with 2 students about daily topics, things that, I don't know, have to do with how much they like something in their university, or for example, how much they are enjoying some sport activity or something like that. But it's always a conversation of 2 students in a university context. And these are the 2 types of materials you can receive in this section. But as I said, you listen, basically, you take notes, of course, because it is impossible to remember everything. And by the way, you always listen to this once. That is to say, you can listen to each listening audio just once. That is to say, you don't have the opportunity to listen to it twice. So when you listen to this, you take notes, right? And then you start with the questions. And as you can see, every question is also multiple choice. Here you have the question. It says, what is the main topic of the lecture? And here, well, of course, you have to choose the one you consider to be correct one, right? How environmental factors, etc., etc. Press next, and you move on to the other one. In this case, for lectures, you have 6 questions, and per conversation, you have 4 questions. That's how this works.
Okay.
Okay, very good. As I say, it's actually a very easy, well, structure to memorize. But of course, whenever you want to continue with that, you can, I don't know, watch for videos on YouTube, or you can register in our classes here as well in the company. There are classes for this as well, for all the sections of the TOEFL exam. Nonetheless, as I mentioned, it's more or less that. And the writing is the same. You simply receive a topic for you to write down, as we have seen, right? Because with you, we have evaluated the writing section, and we have actually trained for that. That is to say, you know how to write down the 2 essays of the writing section, the first one and the second one. And now we are practicing also the speaking section. So the only thing you have to, let's say, study a little bit more and to, let's say, to perfect and to study deeper would be the reading and the listening section, right? But apart from that, there's no mystery for you, all right? Okay, very good. So what else? I think that's it. Do you have any other question about this, dear Shirley, or we're gonna start with our practices for the speaking section, task number 1?
It's okay.
Yes? All right, fantastic. Okay, so as you can see, that would be. So I'm gonna close this and I'm going to get into this. All right, so let us continue with our exercises. As you can see, well, we have been practicing already for this section very much, but we're going to continue because, well, this, as I told you, this task is considered by many people to be the most difficult one in the exam. And I also think that way, so let us just prepare for this, okay? All right, let's go with this question that I have here. We're going to follow the same mechanism we used yesterday, okay? By the way, we're just going to, I'm going to read the statement, and as you remember, you are able to read faster than me, and you can start preparing your response. But if you don't do so, well, you just end until the end of my reading, and then I'm going to give you 15 seconds to prepare the response, and you're going to have 4 or 5 seconds to respond, okay? So let us start. I have already pasted, by the way, the first topic to the chat box for you to read it, okay? So it says, for many, summer is the most favorite season of the year, whereas others like the winter time of the year. Which do you prefer? Include some examples and details to support your answer. That would be, right? So now that you have listened to this, please let us start preparing our response now. Okay, there you are. So, reach here my notebook, and okay, we can start. So please, surely start delivering your response for this question now.
With regard to the topic, I think this is better in the summer because of the following reason. First, do you have more time in the day? For example, my uncle in the work, they finish the work at 7 p.m. But in that day, you can see the light. So do you have more time? The second reason is because you can sport in the park. For example, my sister, in the summer, she can go for the park every day for she like the sport. Yeah.
Right. Incredible. Very good. Very good. Fantastic response. Following the template, offering 2 arguments, 2 illustrations. Incredible. Very good. I am very much satisfied with this response. I think it was very good. Okay, fantastic. The only thing that I would comment here upon would be the, let's say, when you started your response and you gave your first argument, you say something like, do you have more time, right? You say, do you have more time? Now, when you say that, do you have more time? That is not grammatically correct because do you is just for questions. So when you want to say tienes más tiempo would be you have more time. That's it. Without using the do. The do you have more time. The do you have more time is merely, as I say, for questions, all right? Or in case you would like to use it in a sentence that is not a question, it will be you do have more time in the sense that tú sí tienes más tiempo. But nonetheless, when you want to say tienes más tiempo, it is merely you have more time, all right? It's not necessary to use here the auxiliary verb do in order to express that sentence, all right? And is that fine? Do you know?
Yeah.
Yes? Right, fantastic, very good. So try to remember that, okay? All right, let us continue. Okay, let's see this one. Okay, I'm gonna paste it, okay, to the chat box. There you are. So let us start with, oh, yes.
What mean gadget?
Gadgets, yes, gadgets. Gadgets is, well, a word that refers to any electronic device, like, I don't know, a computer or, let's say, an iPad or some sort of, I don't know, Mac or cell phone or Apple Watch, anything that has relationships with technology, it is a gadget, okay? Fantastic. All right, oh, sorry. Okay, so the question is already in the chat box. Let us start reading. It says, some people like to buy new electronic gadgets, like smartphones, right when they are released from their manufacturers, while other consumers will wait a few months before making a purchase. Which do you prefer? Include some examples and details to support your answer. Okay, so now that you have read this, please start developing your response now. All right, good. So now please start, dear Shirley, to deliver your response now.
With regard to the topic, I think this is better. The people will wait a few more for the buy the package for the new electrode or example for smartphone because of the following reason. The first reason, you can say the money. For example, my brother he waited 3 months for the smartphone and they reduce the price. The second, you can know the error for the smartphone or the advantage or disadvantage for the new smart.
Okay, very good. Thank you very much, Shirley. So I think that in this case, the arguments were very good, by the way. You said, right, you can save some money because in a few months, the price of the gadget tends to reduce. Fantastic, that is true. And you gave a very good example with your brother. And then you said, right, that you can know the defects and some sort of problem of the smartphone before you purchase it, right? But you didn't have time to include the second illustration there. And the reason I think was because in the introduction, when you were giving your opinion, you took so much time. I think it's, well, in this case, too much time in offering your response. Well, in this case, your particular opinion or position with regard to this. So I think that, as I told you, well, in this type of questions, you did very well because when it is not a question that tells something like, do you agree or disagree? I think it's better to specifically say your position, right? As you did, and you said that you were actually thinking that buying your gadgets, waiting for a time that is not the exact time when they have been released is better, right? So I think that you could have said that a little bit shorter, something like, in my opinion, it's better to purchase gadgets some months before, or excuse me, some months after the product has been released. That would be, let's say, a very short manner to state your opinion, or something like, in my perspective, or with regard to the topic, I believe that gadgets actually should be purchased only when 4 months have already happened since their release, right? Something like that would be appropriate, right? But I think that is an ability that you're going to perfect or practicing more. So always think about when having this type of questions, try to write down on your paper before you start your response exactly what is going to be the phrase you're going to say. Because as in this case, you're not going to say something as short as in the other responses when you say if you agree or if you disagree. Try to have it already prepared for you not to think about every single word while saying that introduction, but instead of that, you're just going to read it, right? So that would be my recommendation in that case, okay? Yes, it's fine.
Yeah, that's fine.
Fantastic. Okay, so let's see this one. It says, do you prefer to buy used cars or do you believe that you should always buy a new car? Illustrate your arguments with reasons with supporting details, okay? This is interesting. It says, do you prefer to buy used cars or do you believe that you should always buy a new car? Illustrate your argument with reasons with supporting details. Okay, so please start preparing your response now. Okay, there you are. So please start now, dear Shirley, to prepare your response now.
I think this is better buy the new car because of the following reason. The first reason is you can know the problem with a motor in the car. For example, my father he was invited for the car usage and they had the many problem with a motor. And the second time, and the second reason, you don't have the background for the antecedent for the car in another era. Yeah, I got it.
Okay, very good. Very good, Shirley. So yeah, it was a good response. I think that Certainly what complicated you a little bit was the illustration, right? You offer about your father buying a new car. But anyways, it could happen. So whenever this happens, just continue as you did very well and try to always include the second argument and the second illustration. But it was very good, I think, with regard to the arguments. Also, you talked about the engines, right? And how you're able to, when you buy a new car, to avoid any type of difficulties with, I don't know, with automobiles that are not properly working or something like that. Very good. Okay, this is a more personal question, not very much related to, I don't know, to mechanics, I guess. This is more personal. So let's see what your response for this question. It says, do you prefer to go to bed earlier at night around 9 p.m. or do you like to stay up until 12 a.m.? Provide specific details to support your explanation. There you are. So let's start usually to prepare and develop a response for this question now. There you are. Okay, dear Shirley, so let's start now. Delivering your response now.
I prefer to go for the bed early part of the night because of the following reason. The fears this is for her. For example, my cousin they go for the bed later for like the 12:01. They had many problems when to insomnia. I don't know when it's insomnia. Okay, and the second night you have when you are early the bed too early to go to bed early, you have more time in the morning and you can work in different homework in your class.
All right. Fantastic. Very good. Very good. Very good response. So I think that the arguments were as well thought. You talked about in this case, first of all, for health, you talked about insomnia. It's actually the same word, insomnia. Doesn't change, doesn't right? Insomnia, yes. And you also talked about, well, that when you sleep early, you have more time to perform on other activities when it is the morning of the next day, right? So I think that is a very good response. Really, the only thing that I would say is that when you don't know a word, avoid saying it. That is to say, avoid expressing it. Or when you don't remember something, avoid saying, I don't remember how insomnia is pronounced or something, because of course that makes it a little bit if you make a great deal of it, because when you're mentioning that you don't know a word or you have committed a mistake, because for example, I have some students that when we are practicing for this in our classes for a TOEFL exam, when they commit a mistake in grammar or something, or they pronounce a word incorrectly, they start to say, oh no, I did it wrong, but they continue speaking afterwards. And that is not good, because imagine that you also do that on the exam. If you make a great deal of your mistake, then of course the reviewer is also going to make a great deal of it, because you are making a great deal of it, right? So as I say, when you have a mistake or you don't know something, try to avoid mentioning. Just continue as if nothing would be happening. And I assure you that the reviewer will not likely also find that you forgot how to pronounce a word, because as I say, these people have to review a lot of audios, so they are not specifically thinking about errors of your particular response, right? But they are looking for traits or for patterns of a good response. And I think that you have all those patterns. So avoid any type of expression like this one. Okay, when you have forgotten a word or how to pronounce it, look for another word or try to apply the recommendation that I gave you to think about a sentence that expresses exactly the same information. Okay. Fantastic. Very good. So let's go with number 10. It says, some people like to vacation at the beach. I'm gonna paste it, sorry. I'm gonna paste it here. Let's see. So it says, some people like to vacation at the beach, whereas others prefer to go to the mountains when they are on a holiday. Which do you prefer? Include some examples and details to support your answer. Okay, there it is. All right, so please start now preparing your response for this question now. There you are. Okay, dear Shirley, so please start now responding to the question now.
With regard to the topic, I prefer the one. Because for the following reason, the fear in the mountain, you don't have the nose. That is very quiet. So when I in the last summer, I can go for the moon, and this is very quiet. We don't see so many people. And the second reason, this is you feeling better, and this is great for your head. And for example, my cousin go to the mountain and she feeling better, or she do this different sport it taking. Okay.
All right. Incredible. Very good. Very, very good. Okay. So I think that, for example, this was a response that it is very good. That is to say, it is a response that I would punctuate very high on the exam. Okay. So I think that you're improving very well, very much. And I like the fact that you know when to stop when you're giving your illustrations. You're not able to identify when is a good point to stop in your response. And then you continue, you move on to the next argument or to the illustration, but you are measuring your times more adequately now. Because in the past, sometimes you gave too long illustrations or too long arguments, but in this case, I see that you are now measuring and identifying your limits and boundaries. And as I told you, it was just a matter of practice for you to identify that. As I told you, you are now, because you are practicing more, you know, right, when to stop or when to continue. So as I said, it's a matter of practice. That particular problem is always solved with more practice, because you realize how much time you should invest at every single point in the response. And well, the rest is just a matter of stopping and continuing, no more than that. Very good. Okay, let's go with another one. Again, a very personal one. But remember that these questions that could appear on the exam are, well, of two types, right? Very trivial, as this one, for example, or they could be very much, let's say, technical instead, as for example, the one that we saw about used cars or electronic gadgets. So that, of course, it would be a good idea to be prepared for responding both type of questions, right? As we are doing right now. So let's continue. I'm gonna read this aloud. It says, some people like to watch action movies with violence and drama. However, others prefer to watch comedies. Which type of movie do you find more entertaining? Give some specific details to support your response. Okay, there you are. So please, dear Shirley, start structuring your response. Oh yes, tell me.
I'm not sure for this question when you refer the opinion only for the what is the ocean and the more entertaining. That is more specific. For do you need justify or do you need that position that which is the more entertaining? I don't sure. Or you can talk about the comedy is the better because that you can laugh or you can funny.
Okay. Yeah, I think that
or I don't know if there's entertaining because probably the entertaining, the comedy note, you can have also for the action or the drama, but I don't feel sure for the specific what referred to this question.
Okay. Yeah, I think that you interpreted well when you thought about it as I don't know, as if the question were asking you, which one do you prefer, right? Because it says, which type of movie do you, right? It's talking about you find more entertaining. And I think that by the word entertaining, although of course the translation of the word entertaining is entretenido, they are simply meaning which one do you like the most? That is to say, you prefer to watch comedies or you prefer to watch action or drama movies, like for example, Fast and Furious or things of that sort? Or do you prefer comedies, as for example, I don't know, what comedy, any movie with Alan Sandler that is a comedy, right? So as I say, I think that is the question. You shouldn't be very much concerned about the word entertaining, because this type of questions always ask you about your opinion. Okay.
Okay.
Fantastic. Very good. So please start them structuring your response now. Fantastic. Okay, dear Shirley, so please start now responding to the question now.
With regard to the topic, I prefer the watch comedy because of the following reason. The first reason is this movie is you can laugh and you can better. For example, when I see this movie, I laugh every time, and are you feeling more happy? And the second reason, I think this is better because you can see with your family in this movie. For example, when I see the comedy in my house, or my family is it can see that movie.
Fantastic. Very good. Very, very good. Yes, very good. I also like the decision you took when at the end of your response you had some remaining time, you just stop, right? Fantastic, as I recommended you. Very good. My only observation here would be with regard to the pronunciation of the word laugh, right? When you say you laugh more or you are laughing more with your family, it's laugh, right? The way you pronounce it is laugh. Let me write it for you.
Okay.
Laugh like this. It's yes. Laugh like this. Laugh. So that is the way, okay, to pronounce it. But anyways, with regard to the other categories or areas in the response, I think it was fantastic. Okay, very good. You're improving. Okay, let's see this one. Going to paste it. Here we are, number 4. Okay, it says some students choose to attend a university close to their homes so that they can still live with their parents, while other students attend a university far from where they live. Which do you prefer? Include some examples and details to support your answer. All right. So please, dear Shirley, start structuring your response now. Okay, it's now time for you to respond. Okay, so start doing so now.
With regard to the topic, I think I prefer the university is far because of the following reason. The first reason is you feeling more independent. You can manage it. For example, and my sister, when you do your master, she manages her time and don't depend for family. And the second reason, you don't have distraction. So, for example, my cousin they permitted only exclusive for the study and no desire for your family or the problem family.
Incredible, fantastic, very, very good. I like it because this is a type of question that talks about not a very personal question as such, but is your opinion about a controversial topic. And this is more appealing to people who live in the US, right? Because in the US, people normally apply to universities that are far away from their, let's say, home states. As for example, people who live in, I don't know, in California, apply to a university in New York, right? So they, of course, basically travel the entire country in order to attend the university, and they are very much distant from their families. But anyways, your response was excellent, right? Because as I told you, you had a very, very short manner to introduce your position, because you said, right, I prefer universities that are far. Fantastic, that was it. I prefer universities that are far. This is exactly the position you are trying to defend, and you expressed it in a very concise manner. So fantastic. And the arguments and the illustrations were also very good. And actually, I like in the middle of your response, you were somehow illustrating without making it personal, and you realized it and you stopped, and then you talked about your sister, right? Because you were giving a very general and generic illustration,
Yeah.
and then you realized it, and then you started to talk about your sister. So fantastic. I think that you have comprehended very well what I meant when I told you make very personal illustrations. So very good, truly fantastic.
Almost I don't remember then for enlazar, como que enlace,
Yes, like the connector.
the connector for the sentence and example. Yeah, this is more complicated for me.
Okay, no, it's okay. Don't worry, it was very good. You can say as an example, or for example, as an illustration, for instance, right? Any of those works very well. Let's see. So, okay, let's see this one. I'll paste it one more time. There you are. It says, do you prefer to work from home using a computer or to go to your job location? Provide the specific details to support your explanation. Okay. So please, dear Shirley, now start preparing your response for this question now. There you are. The 15 seconds are over. And now, please, dear Shirley, start delivering your response now.
With regard to the topic, I prefer the word in this job location because for the following reason. The first is you can reduce the distraction in your work. For example, when I work in home, I have more distraction for the see the television or listen to music. And the second reason, that you can reduce the noise and you can talk about with your colleague in job location. So when I have, for example, when I have problem in my computer or I have problem with my work, I can question my colleague because that he is in the office.
Fantastic, very good. I am very much let's say pleased of hearing these responses because they are very good. Okay, very, very good responses. Very natural, well connected, well thought as well, and good speaking as well. So fantastic, Shirley. I think that you're reaching a very interesting level that I certainly like very much.
I think that's dependent for the question. That's more.
No, I mean,
specific,
actually,
yeah.
the last questions, you are performing very well in the responses. The last 3 or 5 questions, I think
for the
they have
stories,
been excellent.
Yeah, I know. This is it's more easy that I like this question, but the another question is what is the sentence or what can it say? I hope in my test offer like an easy question.
Yes, of course. We're always waiting for an easy question, but
Yeah.
okay. So if you find these ones to be easy, then we're just gonna practice the difficult ones. I want you to practice that one because I'm gonna look for the difficult ones. Right? Okay, let's go with this one. I think this is difficult. Okay, so let's go with this question over here. So it says, some prefer to take airplanes when going on 500 to 1,000 kilometer trips. On the other hand, others prefer to travel by train during those distances. Which do you prefer? Include specific examples and details to support your answer. All right. Here you have it. So please, dear Shirley, start preparing your response for this question now. Okay, fantastic. There you are. So please, dear Shirley, now start responding to the question now.
With regard to the topic, I prefer the traveling airplanes. Because of the following reason. The first reason is you can reduce the time. For example, my uncle, when he travel in flight, we can have more time in your work and that's travel that city when you go and they have more time for your work. And the second reason, do you have reduced for the uncomfortable travel? And for example, when I travel in different city in the train, do you have the uncomfortable chair or in the flight that is the same?
There you are. Why did you say that you were not as good in these questions as in the other ones? I think it was a very good response, and this was a difficult topic. So as you can see, you are improving. That's the reality.
Yeah, but that's I think that I relation for this question for the experience or the last question that is the same for experience because
Okay.
I travel in the tables or in train. I had that experience in flight, but okay, I had my experience for that, and so that is more easy. But the another question, I think more.
Well, I'm going to give you one more then to convince you. I'm going to give you one more to convince you that you are actually good at these ones. Because I don't know why you are not you're not giving yourself the credit you deserve for these questions. But anyways, let's continue. But I know something I wanted to comment here. The response was excellent, but you continue having that habit that you have developed to say, "Do you prefer?" So try to constantly keep an eye on that expression when you say it, because you are still pronouncing or expressing that sentence in a wrong manner, because you say, "Do you prefer?" Right? When would be you prefer to do something, or you like, or you are able to do this, and instead of doing so, you say, "Do you prefer to do this?" Right? And that is wrong, as I told you. So as I say, it would be a very good idea to keep an eye on that expression and to break out with that particular habit that you have created for yourself. Okay, but anyways, let's continue.
Yeah, for the grammar.
Yes. Okay. There was a question like that here. Okay. Do you prefer, but anyways, I'm going to paste it before. And this is a difficult question, okay? It says, do you prefer to use battery-powered automobiles, or do you believe that gasoline-powered cars are still a good option? Illustrate your arguments with reasons and supporting details, okay? Okay, so please, dear Shirley, start developing your response for this question now. Excellent. Okay, dear Shirley. So please now start responding to the question now.
With regard to the topic, I prefer the use of the battery power in automobile because the following reason. The first reason is that it is better for the environment. For example, when you use another option, you can contamination more the environment. In the second reason, the price is more cheaper in this case. For example, and my uncle every week he used for $100 only for the gas and gasoline power. Gasoline or gas?
Okay.
I think this is gasoline.
I mean, the complete word is gasoline. Nonetheless, in America, they don't
It's
normally
gas,
say the
yeah.
complete word. Yeah, they just say gas, but it's gasoline. Yes, you're right. When you say gasoline, it's gasoline. Gasoline.
Gasoline.
But no, lean. gasoline. No line, as if you're saying like line, a straight line, not line. Gasoline, just gasoline.
Lean. Gasoline.
Yes, exactly. Gasoline,
Okay.
exactly. Very good.
Gasoline.
So, well, very good. Anyways, I think that this response was good because you actually finished the illustration you gave, right? At the end, we talked about how your uncle spent something like, I don't know, $100. I think you said, right? In gas.
And really, I
so
don't know. I don't sure for that is more cheaper or not. I did that, but
yes.
I don't know. This is
yeah, actually it is. Well, I think I'm not sure, but anyways, I mean, the response is fine because you are. Yes, you're arguing, right? The response is fine because you're arguing. As I told you, they don't care very much about the arguments. They just care if you are convincing. And to anybody, remember that the person who's going to listen to you, well, it's not a specialist anyways on let's say cars or automobiles. So if we don't know anything about the prices of gasoline and battery cars, well, don't worry, he is not going to know anything as well. So he's probably going to believe it. So as I say, it was a fantastic response, right? So I just want to say that, as you can see, you are actually very much capable of responding to these difficult questions as well, even when they are not this do you agree or disagree questions, but also these questions that require a little bit more of thought and also of thoughtful meditation and of rational and thinking process. You're also able to respond them. As you can see, you are able to offer 2 arguments and 2 illustrations. So I think that's the responses for both type of questions are well polished and perfected until this point. Okay, so as I said, you have this link. Okay, you have it for you, and you can practice with it at any point. Okay, so as I said, we're going to stop here. All right, and tomorrow we're going to have our last class, and we're going to practice as well, of course, but we're going to have some other activities as well for us to finish. Okay.
I have a question.
Yeah, tell me.
In this last question, in the last question,
Mm-hmm.
in the first sentence, that's okay. But in the example, when you don't, for example, if this question is like the specific for the environment, the automobile, when you don't have the example or don't you have a relation for the another people or your family or your friend, in my answer in this case no is specific for the experience and the specific people. That is like general. Is well or no? When you
I
example
listen
no
to
is for the people in specific.
No, it is. The way to respond doesn't vary. Doesn't matter if the question is a more technical, as I told you, because this is a more technical question type, right? It doesn't vary. You always have to make it personal because this is the only time in the entire exam, with the writing section, of course, as well, in which you are able to say what you think. So you should always make it personal, even when the topics are somehow, as I say, related to topics that are not, let's say, that much personal. Even with that case, you should still prefer to make it personal and to give your personal and specific opinion. Okay. And I heard that you did it, so it was very good. Okay. So don't stop doing so, because these questions, the first task of the speaking section, are always for you to say what you think and what you have experienced about that topic. Never just to discuss academic things, because, well, you have the entire exam for discussing and demonstrating that you're able to speak academic English, but this is more for daily English. All right.
Thank you.
Okay, fantastic. So let me stop this. And as I say, okay, we're gonna stop here. I'm gonna take your assistance. Please help me there, Shirley, okay, with the traditional poll that we always fill. So it is Wednesday as well, sadly, so you have to fill 2 for me. Well, anyways, let me look for this. Good. There we are. Okay, thank you very much. And let's go with the last one, okay? You won.
It's Wednesday.
Yeah, Wednesday, every Wednesday. Well, I guess that you're not gonna be responding anymore, so enjoy it. It's the last time you're gonna respond to this 2 type of polls. Well, tomorrow just 1, right?
Okay.
Thank you very much, Shirley. All right, fantastic. Okay, so thank you very much, okay, dear Shirley, for your time today. As I said, tomorrow we're going to have our last class, so we're going to be having some special activities, okay? But anyways, thank you very much and continue practicing, okay, for this task because you have all the material there in your WhatsApp, okay?
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you very much. See you tomorrow.